And welcome to this new and this time short form Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. A game which is, you could say, is very bizarre in the sense that it's very much based on interaction between the player and the game, and also pokes fun, amuses, parodises, satirizes, underlines the common, you could say, limitations and possibilities of the freedom of the medium. So it's very much a game about game. So, but let's just go through it one way, just to show that how this game actually works, or basically how it's at first presents itself. Let's just go.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-ending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
And with this little narration by Kevin Brightting with lovely British accent, Stanley Parable begins. And basically all moves Stanley has are moving and interact button, which at this pace does nothing. So let's just change the settings a little bit. To get the subtitles a bit less intrusive. So that was how the intro said. And look at this office. It's very, you could say, Kafka-esque.
Co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Now when you look about it, this setting is very much something like a, you could say, 90s, early 2000s office space with these clearly old-fashioned computers.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Yep. Yeah, this is something like 1990s of the office with special desks, and that computer is on, but it's basically just a set piece. And there's named office rooms and all that. So at this space, when you look about it, this place has sense of, you could say, foreboding, as in, of course, how the narrator said, something had gone clearly wrong. And also, interestingly enough, when you look up at this now, Stanley has no reflection. Not any kind. Although that was a bit wrong because that room actually leads to a window. Clock is ticking. But let's just get moving. Move this very bleak and barren office space.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
And at this phase, the true nature of the Stanley parable shows itself. Narrator says Stanley went to the left room, but there's nothing preventing you going to the right. But let's just follow this nice little neat story narrator is writing. And even this doors shutting down behind you, it could be said to be very eerie detail. Very something like reminiscent of Silent Hill. But Stanley just stumbles right through the place.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
And of course, when you look about the whiteboard daily schedule, you can see it's actually quite completely bizarre. Yep. Yep, these texts, when you look at them from far away, there appears to be nothing really wrong, but once you go to look at them closer, there's way weirder texts going out, like the Get Chris Out of Broom Closet, synergized papers, fire the paper synergizing guy, and even the desk doesn't look so bad, and the slides. Yep, this is, you could say, very much something from the Silent Hill. You could say that it looks originally normal, but then when you take a closer look about it, you can see it's very unsettling and nonsensical. And there's the broom closet, but let's just open it and see what's going on.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Yep. And if this would be much more of an action genre, there could be some sort of bashing horror things to the head weapon over there.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
And once again, there's a new choice. Go down where there's this evil red glow in the cellar, very much hinting that something evil bad is over there, or keep going up to this inviting little lighting, although the setting of the game is quite, you could say, bleak. So even now I've already unintentionally shown at least 2 or 3 little places to tinker with this game. And boss has a big and tall office.
Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
But now I know it because narrator mentioned it. 2, 8, 4, and 5.
Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing.
Yep.
He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Yep, now I actually manipulated the boss to do something. Actually, now it already was the fact that, yeah, the player might know things, but the character Stanley does not. But in this, now it's time to get to this dark elevator. Because, once again, there was been little choice. Although I don't know, was that made technically in the sense that the roof is moving instead of lift.
He felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Yep, and once again, now we're at this very sinister-looking basement.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
And once again, there would be a little choice to put things, or let's say opportunity to put the narrator's story into a twist, but let's just not do it. And let's just see what kind of story he has written. Mind control facility. Yep, looks very intimidating. So let's just press the button.
Rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
And of course, now it's the case of Stanley has to have a strength to find out because, well, he's basically the freedom of choice is more or less removed from this equation. So
now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Oh yeah, that was nice and lovely little dramatic mention about this kind of room. Although I would expect that this kind of mind control facility would most likely resemble more like the office place.
Facility. It was too horrible to believe
someone's been
it
fired.
couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Oh yeah.
No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
When you actually look about it,
the roof, the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Now when you look about it, it has already been dismantled. All these machine statuses set, say, offline, so there would really be nothing in here. And I did press a big button which that made a noise. Oh yeah, and there's of course unnecessarily pompous big little control device, and of course once again there would be a choice.
The room's power. He knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
Yeah, so let's just turn it off as the narrator is written.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Now, that was how the basic story of Stanley Parable is broken or made, as the narrator tidily wanted it to be, but there was so many opportunities to actually throw it off. So let's just actually make use of this illusion of choice this game keeps throwing at me. So let's just okay, and there's also
all of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Oh, so let's also do a little bit of a trophy trickery. There's one trophy about clicking this door.
Oh, please. Are you really just doing this for the trophy? Click a door 5 times? Is that all you think a trophy is worth? No. I can't just give these merits away for such little effort. A measly 5 clicks? Now, suppose you were to click the door 20 times. I would say that's the kind of effort that warrants recognition.
Alright, let's just click that. Let's click it more.
I have to say, I'm still not feeling the satisfaction of witnessing true effort for a noble cause. Perhaps 50 clicks will do it. Yes, almost certainly 50 clicks.
Yep. But no. He can ramble as much as he wants. But I just... When you look about it, this game could be quite serious, grim horror game, or beginning of it. But it's much more of an exploration of this kind of, you could say, freedom, choices, and all that kind of things games usually tend to have.
Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors. He entered the door on his left.
Oh, except he didn't.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Oh, yeah, that would be... And, well... There are all these kind of little... They haven't... There's some... I feel that this game, despite its basically quite limited intellectual approach and topic, is quite...
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
Yep, there's... vending machine, and because this game already has such limited ways to interact with things, there really isn't.
Really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it.
That actually looks like a photograph, and it's actually quite nice. That looks at landscape. Quite simple, nice.
Eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
And once again, there's this little illusion of choice available, but this time there would be a little bit of a extra little, once again, incentive to go in here. But let's just completely break him, and let's go here again. Let's break him.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
It's a real nice that they basically anticipated everything that a player with this kind of limited interactions would do in this kind of location, and then they just wrote narrator to comment on all of those kind of randomness that Stanley might actually be doing. So, once again, it's here. Very simple environmental puzzle, and of course, once again, you can see there's 2 options ahead. Penalty misuse for cargo lift, $1,000. Jumping off the cargo lift, $5,000, and do not jump on cargo lift. Its motion will cause death.
Look, Stanley, of course, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
Actually, that's just a little bit of a manipulation narrator is trying to try to get Stanley to follow the story.
But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
Oh yeah, that was one way to edit the story.
All of his co-workers were gone.
So once again, let's just go.
Decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed
just
the memo.
dash right through this meeting office space, and once again go to the right.
When Stanley came to a set
And
of two
break
open
down
doors,
the
this was not the correct way to the meeting room.
narrators'
And Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps
stories.
he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Yep.
Yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
So once again, let's just
And
go
so he
here.
detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Except he didn't. Yep, there's just so much this kind of little trickeries and
But
ways
Stanley
to
didn't want to go back to the
bend
office.
the story
He wanted to
and
wander
twist it.
about and get even further off track. So now, in order to get back, he needed to go from here. It's left. Oh no, it's to the right. My mistake. No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please? Now, let's see. We went down, right,
Yep.
left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
Yep. Yep.
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top.
Oh yeah. That should tell you how you could say bizarre
All of his co-workers were
and
gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
heavy
Perhaps he had
on
simply missed the
facts
memo.
and heavy on emphasizing the illusions of choice Stanley Parable has. So I say that if you really want to...
Wait, what? No, I restarted. I swear, I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Oh, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere, or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay, then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find the story.
Alright, so once again, there would be the two basic doors, but now there's even more ways to open, so let's just go here and wander off this direction. Yep, it's absolutely completely bizarre. And go this way.
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
Yep, this game is very aware of that it's a story. So let's just once again keep starting because it's going for the very weird stuff.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Yeah. And once again...
Okay, yep, it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
Oh yeah, and this game also has lots of this kind of little subtle changes, because when you look about coding this kind of game in this kind of sardonic manner to highlight the story.
I knew we'd miss something. The story. Here it comes.
Oh yeah, once again I've turned around the corridor
never
way.
mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps.
So let's just see, do I turn, can I manage to turn right more than, well, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, yep, the space is nonsensical.
Now this, well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations! I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off, so good job.
So yeah.
Oh, no, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay, I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time, I have to restart.
Yep, Stanley's coding currents
All
stuck.
right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
Oh yeah, well, it should be quite simple. Just following the line, and it goes to other direction. Can I break the story again instead of following the line?
No, I'm down. We're leaving it up to the line from now on.
Oh yeah. Well, I guess I'm kind of stuck with this line, following it, and it's quite consistent.
You see, the line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Okay, Stanley, I need to follow this train of thought for a minute. Just stick with me. Now, we can both agree that the nature of existence is in fact a byproduct of one's subjective experience of that existence, right? Okay, now if my experience of your existence rests inside of your subjective experience of this office, is this office in fact the skeleton of my own relative experiential mental subjective construct? Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
Actually, I have my own decision about this game, which is to say, go to menu, because I really didn't want to hear the narrator's ramblings. So, but that should give you something about Stanley Parable. It's something like a exploration of the medium, using the medium and highlighting all the limits and possibilities of it. So, it's kind of fun games. Would start as something like an existential horror game and then becomes completely bizarre, you could say funny. Well, it could be almost anything. So, it was refreshing to do this kind of short content video. See ya.